They're gambling on you not paying off the full amount because you've not been playing the credit game.
Exactly. But the better option,
wow,
get rid of your debit card. It's not serving you.
Is it really possible to borrow hundreds of thousands of pounds and never pay any interest?
Bottom line is absolutely yes. The best thing to do is
how to repair even bad credit and borrow 100% plus on credit cards at 0% interest. So we have 6 steps. When I say we, I say my special guest here, to take you through, even if you've got the worst credit ever, even if you've just moved to this country, even if you've got CCJs tattooed all over you, even if you've missed loads of payments. We're not saying it's easy, but I'm going to talk you through 6 fairly simple steps to repair, improve, increase your credit, and then be able to borrow potentially hundreds of thousands of pounds at 0% interest on credit cards. Now, I have persuaded this now celebrity,
it's getting that way.
this ex-IFA. I'll get him to tell his story in a bit more detail in a moment, but I want to get this started. So ex-IFA used to be an independent financial advisor. Also then went and worked in the banks selling credit cards to consumers. So almost like a whistleblower, if you like. So we've got 6 steps that we're going to take you through to improve your credit and then unlock all of these cards. Before we talk through these 6 steps, Chris, could you just give us a little bit of a sort of a bio of why you're whistleblowing on this?
I love the whistleblowing title. I first went into sales, I suppose, back in the mid-90s, and I worked in a call centre. We were selling loans and credit cards, and we were driven by targets, and we very quickly learned as a team, there's a group of us, and we learned what worked and what didn't work to get applications through. So, not that you can... I'm not talking about being fraudulent, but there's certain questions that can be sent in different directions. And we learned what was good, what was bad, and what was likely to be granted and so on. And then as a financial advisor, I was fully trained up and fully licensed in all the different areas. But it's since spending a lot of time with people and, the right kind of people like yourself and people that understand how money works, I've been able to discover really what is the best way to obtain the cheapest borrowing.
So you've learned the traditional IFA route.
Yeah.
And I guess since meeting entrepreneurial people, you probably found that a bit limiting.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. And then you've sold credit cards and loans to consumers. Mm-hmm. So you kind of know how to get them to position themselves so you can sell them loads of debt.
Well, yeah, or credit, whichever way you want to talk about it.
Debt, credit, same thing.
Same thing, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. And now you're independent,
mm-hmm.
you're your own business owner, mm-hmm. and we're here to help everyday people and consumers
for sure.
Get the credit up, mm-hmm. get the 0% up. And is it really possible to borrow hundreds of thousands of pounds and never pay any interest?
Well, kind of yes and no is the best answer I can give. I mean, bottom line is absolutely yes. There's cards out there where you can borrow money at 0%. If your credit's not the greatest and or you're just starting out, you're unlikely to get tens of thousands to begin with. But wherever you're at right now, what I say to people is let's draw a line in the sand right now and make steps towards, first of all, improving your credit so that you can get to that point. Because let's say, even if it took you 5 years, if that was 5 years ago, you'd be happy that you started 5 years ago, if you're there now. So wherever you're at right now, you can improve where your current credit rating is and your ability to borrow. There's no reason why in the next could be 3 to 6 months, depending on how bad your credit is, up to maybe a couple of years. But you'll get to the point where you can borrow as much money as you want to. It's crazy how much is available once your credit profile is good.
Yeah, there's a few things here that surprises everyone when it comes to borrowing and increasing your credit score and maximizing your credit profile. And one of them is actually step 1. Mm-hmm. So step 1 is use credit cards instead of debit cards. And of course, society has taught us that that's bad. And we shouldn't spend money that we don't have. And I don't think you're going to be saying that. But it's quite surprised a lot of people that you're saying you should use credit cards, not debit cards, and use more credit cards.
Yeah, exactly that. So again, this is about building up your profile. So you've got to flex the muscle. So if you're not using it, then it's just going to waste away just like a muscle in your body. So What most people do is if they get paid a salary, for example, the money goes into a bank account and they spend money out of the bank account using a debit card. So there's a little game that I kind of play with people just to demonstrate how that is bad for you. In so much as if you actually jumble up the letters debit card, it spells bad credit. So just move the letters around, it actually spells bad credit. So that's a pretty cool exercise. So people are probably scribbling that down right now. But it's there in clear sight. So
what you're saying is using your debit card is bad for your credit because using your debit card doesn't improve or affect your credit score in any way.
Correct, because it doesn't actually register with the credit reference agencies, that particular transaction.
So you could be prudent with your money and well organised and pay everything on time and never get any debt. And then when it comes to getting a credit card or a mortgage, you could not get one because you've not been playing the credit game.
Exactly. So the better option would be, instead of using your debit card, and I'm talking about now just making purchases that you're going to make anyway. So I'm assuming most of your viewers are humans and therefore consume food and fuel and they buy stuff anyway just to live. So let's say you go to a supermarket once a week and, instead of spending your £100 or £150, whatever you spend, instead of spending that on a debit card where the money comes straight out of your account, spend it on a credit card instead. So you're now registering with the credit reference agencies to show that you've borrowed money. When you actually make that repayment, when you actually pay it back, that's what increases your score. So you could, for example, go shopping once a week. And let's say you spend £100 a week. Not that you can buy anything for £100 a week nowadays, but let's say you spend £100 a week. At the end of the month, that's £400 or £500. And if you make that full repayment, pay off the whole £400 or £500, because remember, it's things that you're going to buy anyway, your credit score will go up. But there's a little hack, whereas instead of waiting till the end of the month, instead of paying off that whole £400 or £500 at the end of the month, do it every single week. Now, any new transaction on a credit card takes 5 days to clear. So if you go shopping on a Monday, wait till the Saturday or Sunday, and then just pay off the entire transaction. You can do it on an app on your phone. It takes a few seconds, pay it off, and then next week you go shopping again, you put it on the same credit card again, pay it off 5 days later. You're now making a repayment, or you're borrowing money and repaying it 4 or 5 times a month rather than just once a month. Wow. So your credit score goes up 4 or 5 times quicker.
Wow. Now, this is important to say. You're an ex-IFA and I really care about my community. What we are not saying is putting money on credit cards and then not paying it off.
Of course, yeah. That would get you into a lot of trouble very, very quickly.
Yeah.
It's actually what credit cards are designed to do. So, they're lulling you in to trying to get you into the point of, I'll just spend a little bit here, there and everywhere. And then instead of making a full payment, I'll just make the minimum payment. And then before you know it, you're paying interest and you're paying that, £100 purchase off over many years and many thousands of pounds potentially. So yeah, only use it for things that you were going to buy anyway. That's really important.
Right. So this is quite a fun dance because it's like a game because, and I sort of picked this up from you actually. I did think to myself, why would a credit card company, a bank, give you 0% interest and even give you 0% transfer fees? And then you answered it because you answered that again. The game we're playing of them trying to sort of lure us in just to get us beyond that monthly payment.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like being a drug dealer, Here's some business advice for you. Not. So, the way a drug dealer would work is they'd give you free drugs. So you get you hooked on it. And it's just the same
I
thing.
don't think they give away free drugs in Peterborough.
Maybe not.
Well, maybe a better analogy is the fudge shop in Cambridge.
Possibly,
where they give you some free fudge.
Yeah, there
I
we go.
have never seen, not that I've seen drug dealers. Are you, from where you're from?
I'm from Manchester. It's different rules.
You get a free little go.
Yeah, something like that. But if you get people hooked, they're going to keep coming back forever. So if your kids, I'll say something that's really, really hard hitting deliberately because hopefully it'll make a point. But if you were to give all the kids in a school playground free drugs and get them hooked, you've got clients for life and they'll do whatever to pay that back.
Well, don't the food industry do that with sugar?
That's exactly what they do.
Well, there you go then.
So the food industry is doing it anyway. So I liken it to the same. But also the money industry does the same thing as well with credit cards.
Right.
In fact, even before credit cards start, because when you leave school, you go to university. Congratulations, you've got your first drug debt. You've got £70,000 worth of university debt.
Well, do you know
That's how it starts.
Now at university, they're offering people £100 to open an account.
Wow. Okay.
£100. I remember you'd get incentives before, but obviously they just want to open more bank accounts or more credit cards because it means more money.
For sure.
Okay, so they're trying to lure you in.
Yep.
So they'll tease you on the 0% because you think it's free money,
Mm-hmm.
and they're gambling on you not paying off the full amount.
Exactly that.
Because then you're in debt
Mm-hmm.
and then you're paying interest. But you can just use their essentially free offers and just never miss a payment.
The idea is just to keep using the free stuff and keep moving it around. But there's one word that keeps banks in massive profit, and that's the word apathy. So because of apathy, people tend to use that free. So you can get a 0% card for 2 or sometimes 3 years.
Or maybe lack of organisation.
There is that as well, and lack of this knowledge, simple lack of education, because frankly, they don't teach this in school.
Well, why would they?
It's
never going to.
Because who's going to make profits out of us mere people if they knew what they were doing, eh?
Yeah.
But yeah, so if they give you this free money for a couple of years and you pay your monthly payment as a direct debit, and maybe you've spent it on a holiday or some shoes or something that's not going to serve you, you pay your monthly payment, which is normally a minimum of 1 or 2% of the balance. And there's no interest on there. So if you pay £100 a month, £100 a month comes off the balance, let's say. But what happens is after a couple of years, they start applying interest, which can be 20 or 30%, which is really, really high. But your payment doesn't change. You're still paying £100 a month. So people don't see any real difference, so they don't act on it. But now instead of paying £100 a month off the balance, only a much smaller amount, sometimes only half of what you're paying is coming off the balance. But because of apathy, people just pay that monthly payment every month as a direct debit. And before they know it, they've paid thousands in interest over the rest of their lifestyle.
Okay, so step 1 was use your credit cards instead of your debit cards. It helps increase your credit score. Step 2 is get hold of more credit cards because more is better. Do you want to explain that?
Absolutely, yeah. So this is where you're going to go big or go home type thing. So how many credit cards are available out there? Well, there's thousands. There's literally thousands of different credit cards. How many can you have? Well, in the UK, there's actually no limit to how many cards that you can have.
So you could have 100 cards?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I've never seen that many with one
What's
person.
the most you've seen someone have?
69. 69 cards, which is crazy. And he said he had 70, but he lost one because he wasn't using it. So the secret is to get hold of as many cards, well, within reason, but certainly get a portfolio of cards. So, everybody talks about collecting properties and having a portfolio of properties. You want to have a portfolio of cards as well. Some that you'll use for your shopping, for example. So if you shop at Tesco, get a Tesco credit card. Stands to reason. You get points back each time you spend it. But it can separate your expenditure into different categories by different credit card statement, and get points from different cards. You can. There's loads and loads of different ways of playing about with a credit card game. But you want to get multiple cards so that you're building up multiple profiles, and you can balance transfer between them if we want to get super complicated. So you can avoid paying fees and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, multiple cards is the secret for sure.
Okay, so we've got other episodes on the More Money Show about raising hundreds of thousands of pounds and about how to get multiple credit cards, etc. So we'll save that for that. So make sure you're subscribed and watch the other videos or listen to the audios once you've consumed this one. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so step 3 then is to actually check your score at checkmyfile.com. So can you talk us through that and what we're looking for on our score and what can be bad for our score?
Yeah, so the thing to understand is that there's actually 3 credit reference agencies. One's called Experian, one's called Equifax, and one's called TransUnion. And sometimes when I speak to people, they say, yeah, I'm registered with, and they'll mention one of those. But the reality is you don't have to register with any of them. They actually contain factual, historical information about your credit. So if you've got a credit card with Barclaycard, it'll say Barclaycard, credit card. It'll say what your limit is. It'll track your last 6 years worth of payments. All it does is just record history, effectively, about your past credit behaviors. It will give you a score, but remember, that's just to give you an indication as to how you look. It doesn't really necessarily mean much, but it's a great, great measure, by the way. And the best way to check, the first thing you've got to do is understand what your actual credit score is now as a form of measure and work towards improving that. So you want to get that to 999. And the way you do that is by utilizing your cards and moving, using them, not just leaving them to one side. But the best place to check your credit score on your credit file is to go to checkmyfile.com, because it's not a credit reference agency in its own right, but it is a portal that gives you access to all 3 of them in one place. Now, it's free for the first 30 days. There's no affiliate fees here or anything. I'm not making anything out of it. But It's free for the first 30 days and it's about £15 a month. So if funds are tight, then just cancel it before the end of the month. But if you can afford to keep it, it's worth having because you can keep checking it as many times as you want to. And that doesn't affect your score, by the way. But what it does is it gives you access to all 3 credit reference agencies all in one place. And it's really super easy to understand everything. And it tells you why it's good, why it's bad, what you can do to improve it. And it's just a really, really good place to have all the information in one place rather than logging into them all separately. So yeah, for sure.
Okay, and you've said here you're looking for missed payments, defaults, disputes, CCJs.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that affects your credit score is being on the electoral roll. So it will tell you whether you are or not. The CCJ is
and you
one,
must be there.
and you've got to be there, yeah. So even it's not about voting, but you've got to be on the electoral roll for you to exist from a credit point of view, and it affects your credit score by about 40%. So it makes a big, big difference. So if you're not on the electoral roll, get on there, register with your local council, but then go to Check My File and ask them to help you update it because they'll help you with those kind of things as well. Look for any mistakes. It's quite common to find mistakes. So it might show that you've missed a payment or two. If that's not the case, you can provide evidence and get it corrected. If you've got a CCJ, it's kind of one of the worst places to be in terms of credit. So a CCJ is a county court judgment. That generally comes after many warnings and many attempts to reach out to you, and but people have them. And quite often it's because people have disputed something for just a small amount and refuse to pay it out of principle. Best thing I can say is, it's your credit that's affected, and it's affected for 6 years. So even if you're in dispute, just pay it and then sort the issues out afterwards. But just check through everything. And Check My File is a great place because it explains everything and it shows you why certain things are good, why certain things are bad, and what you can do to improve it as well. So register with it and have a look, and it kind of lays it all out for you, what you need to be doing to improve it.
Okay, so step 4 then is optimize your credit utilization. What does that mean?
So credit utilization is how much of your current credit facility are you utilizing, as its name would suggest. So this applies to an individual card, but also over your entire portfolio as well. So for example, if you've got a total of £10,000 worth of credit cards, that could be 1 card or 3 or 5 or 10, doesn't matter. But over the amount of credit that you've got, how much are you utilizing? So if you're utilizing or using more than 30%, that starts to reduce your credit profile and your credit score. So if you're maxed out on all your credit cards, that can hurt you from being able to get hold of more credit, first of all. So you're unlikely to get more credit cards if you are maxed out because it kind of demonstrates that you can't manage your credit. They're scared that whatever they give you, that you'll max out on that as well, which is kind of counterintuitive because you think, well, that's what they want to do. But yeah, they want to lend you money, but they want to know that you're going to pay it back as well with interest, of course. So the best place to be is at 30%. And that's actually better than 0. So this is the counterintuitive thing where a lot of people think by paying off their credit cards and getting rid of them is a great way to increase your score. It's actually the worst thing to do. The best thing to do is have as many cards as you can and utilize them at 30%. So if you wanted to borrow £30,000, the goal is to get at least £100,000 worth of credit cards so that you can then maintain that 30% threshold. So 30% is the optimum place to be. Shows that you're active, shows you're responsible, but it also shows that you're not maxing out with it as well. So try and aim to be at the 30%. And the final thing, I suppose, is if you've got, let's say, £5,000 worth of credit cards available and you've used £3,000, that's 60%. There's 2 options you've got. You can either reduce your balance by £1,500 or you can actually just increase your credit limit. And quite often just making a phone call to your existing credit cards to ask them to increase it can do that. And that will bring your credit utilization down. Really, really quick way of improving your credit score.
Have people raised big credit limits? What's the biggest credit limit raise you've seen? And how realistically easy is it to push your credit limit up?
Well, the thing is, I've always encouraged people to make a phone call to try and get this done so you can speak to a human being who might have different targets and so on. So, if you do a nice job of selling yourself on the phone, you can get a better result. But increasingly, we're moving towards, even if you do manage to speak to a human being, remember those people, they tell you to go to the app. So you can still have the same conversations through the chat facility where possible. And increasingly, it's going to be powered by AI. But the structure is still the same. Keep your credit utilization low and be active with your cards and just keep asking them. I mean, this isn't something that you just do once. You want to be having these conversations every single month with your cards because maybe they don't give it to you today or next month or the month after. But if you keep asking them every month, eventually they're going to start saying yes especially as you increase other cards as well. But yeah, just ask the question. They're in the business of lending money, provided you're not missing payments, provided you're not maxed out on all your cards. There's a very good chance they'll increase your limits. And the likelihood is, well, I spoke to somebody just 2 or 3 days ago, and there was actually a couple at one of your property training events, and they had 0 credit cards, and they were nervous about borrowing because they've always been told by broke people, don't borrow money and all the rest of it. So I tasked them to go and apply for multiple cards, and between 2 of them, in half an hour, they raised £31,000. So,
wow.
It's easily done.
All right. So step 5, make sure you're listed on the electoral roll and actually use your credit. I know you've kind of covered it, but
yeah, for sure.
Expand out on that.
Again, the electoral roll, like I said, is critical. You've got to be registered on there as well. You can register on the electoral roll in seconds. Okay, so you go onto your local council website, register on there. Literally takes 5 minutes. But the thing that you need to do is to get them to update the credit files as well. So you need to be speaking to the council to get them to force the update. But in my experience, it can take anything from a few weeks to 2 or 3 months. But it's the people that are more relentless. So get on the phone and keep pestering them and keep asking them to do it, because they can force an update. They just choose not to. If you just leave them to their own devices, it updates once a year, typically November time. So to get that impacted, get on the phone and be persistent with it, because it's affecting your credit big time. And then in terms of using credit cards, so that the more you use, the more you're going to get. So you've got to be active with your cards. So use it for the shop. Even if you're only buying cheap things, whether it's just a Starbucks or a Costa, or you're shopping or paying for your fuel and what have you, just use credit cards. Just get into the habit of using credit cards for it. And as you start to grow your credit cards as well, get a list of different cards for different purposes. So if you've got 3 businesses, for example, then have a different credit card for each business, and use one for business 1, one for business 2, one for business 3. You've got itemized statements then that you can give to your accountant to save some accountancy fees as well. So there's loads and loads of little things you can do, but just be really, really active with it. Get rid of your debit card. It's not serving you.
Okay, and then step 6 is use clearscore.com, which lists 35 credit cards and which ones you're likely to be accepted on.
Yeah, so this is a cool little tool that I found a few years ago. So ClearScore it's a free app, and similar to Check My File, it will give you a credit score. But understand it's limited information, because it's only going to be bringing information from Equifax. Now, Equifax provides their information for free. You don't need to register. You don't need to pay to register for that information. So ClearScore is a free app that lists your credit, or gives you an idea of what your credit score is. But remember, it's just from Equifax. But because it then knows your credit profile, it links up with 35 different credit card lenders, and it knows the credit card's criteria, it knows your credit profile, and it matches the 2 of you together. So it will give you a list of credit cards that are available to you based on your personal profile. So just to give you an indication of how accurate it is as well, it'll give you a percentage chance of being approved. So the highest is pre-approved. It'll actually say it's pre-approved, which in 9 out of 10 cases, you will be accepted for it. It might say 90, 80, 70%. My advice is to apply for everyone that shows up on that list. And the other benefit of it as well is when you click apply, it pre-fills in all your information. So you don't have to go and type away and apply for multiple cards by repeating all your information over and over again. Click apply, pre-fills in your information, press submit, and within 30 seconds, you've got a decision. The way that they make their money is the credit card providers will pay them a bit of an affiliate fee for facilitating that effectively. But it's a super quick way to apply for multiple cards all in one go. Quick caveat though is it doesn't list every single credit card. So if you really want to go big on this and apply for multiple cards in one go, use this ClearScore first, apply for every card that shows up on there, and then apply for any others that you want to as well. And just one last thing in terms of building your credit. It could be that you don't actually qualify for most credit cards. There's like 4 different levels of credit cards, but the lowest level is credit builder credit cards. Now they're designed specifically to help people build their credit rating, as its name would suggest. Now, to get a credit builder credit card, you could still have CCJs. You could be new to the country. They're not going to give you big limits. In fact, typically you probably get about a £200 credit limit. The interest might be 40 or 50%, super high. But the purpose of this is literally to do your shopping that you're going to do anyway, and then pay it off within 5 days. because some of these cards actually charge interest from day one. And you want to avoid paying interest where possible. So, but just use them for day-to-day purchases that you're going to do anyway. And after, a few weeks and certainly a few months, your credit score is going to go through the ceiling because you're using these credit cards heavily. And even if you're not, let's say you're the worst credit score in the world, and even a credit card company won't give it to you, there are still a number of different tools that are listed on ClearScore with guaranteed acceptance that will help you build your credit score. So there's like a savings plan that you can take where you pay £10 a month into it. And the beauty of that is in 12 months' time, you get your £120 back. So you pay £10 a month over a year. They give you £120 back. So you're not making any interest out of it. But the benefit to you is that registers on the credit reference agency as if it was a loan of £120 that you're paying back at £10 a month. And every time you make a repayment and then you pay the full balance off, your credit score goes up. They also have tools where they can give you like an online credit facility. So it looks like you've got an additional £4,000 or £5,000 worth of credit. Now you can't spend it. So it only shows that that's available credit that you're not utilizing. So that reduces your credit utilization. Really, really powerful tool. So ClearScore is a big, big friend for you. Speeds the process up massively.
I've just had an idea for another episode.
Let's do it.
Would you be up for sitting down with me
Okay.
In an afternoon and seeing how many cards you can get me and how much of a limit we can get on them?
Sounds like a plan.
Because I don't really do this enough.
Okay.
I don't mind saying humbly, but I'm quite wealthy. So I don't really need masses of credit cards because I've got money. So I tend to have my business and personal Amex, and then we do the air miles and I get loads of like upgraded business class flights.
Okay.
And then I have like one personal credit card. Up until, when we started talking for the first time properly, I was even using my debit card in loads of places.
Okay.
I've stopped that now. So I've got my personal credit card. So I've only got 3 or 4 credit cards. And like this, I probably shouldn't say this, but fuck it, I'm going to say it. But like, I want a Ferrari 355.
Okay.
But then you got me thinking, I'm like, well, why don't I just get a few cards, lob a couple of Ferraris on it, and then because if we could do a mini documentary on it, because I quite fancy proving this. I mean, I believe you, and I know you're running this online course at the moment, taking people through the steps. Would you be up for helping me get as many cards as possible on a day? First of all,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
and then like maybe I'll decide after that, but maybe I'll buy a couple of. I'm not advising this, by the way, but like if you can juggle the balance transfer for 1 to 2 years, or just then basically like getting little free installment payments to myself for buying a couple of Ferraris.
Let's do it.
So you'd be up for that?
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah. And then next year we can do how to buy a couple of Ferraris on credit cards. Yeah.
All right, cool. So I've got a little surprise for you all, actually, because just literally 2 weeks ago, Chris very kindly started a brand new 6-week series for us, detailing each of the 6 main elements of raising hundreds of thousands of pounds on credit cards at 0% interest. And this is a potential that you could do for, do you think you could do this for 2 or 5 or longer years?
Yeah, for sure. There's, you would start the process now, and if you continue to build on it, then,
But you think for many years you could be paying 0%?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a big thing. That I think most people, they think, okay, well, if you can do it, but it's really short term, but play Chris's game, move cards around, know what Chris knows, basically the grand chess master, the whistle-blowing grand chess master of credit card debt.
Okay.
So Chris has kindly agreed to do a 6-week private series for Money.School members. Now, this is not something Chris teaches publicly. Chris has agreed that this is an exclusive for Money.School members, i.e. this course, you can't get it anywhere else. People pay Chris a lot of money to consult for him. So instead of you paying, I don't know, thousands of pounds, whatever Chris might charge this for a physical online course, you can get it free inside Money.School. And so Money.School is my global financial school. There's hundreds of hours of courses, resources, and masterclasses to make, manage, and multiply money. Whether you want to start a business or get better personal finance knowledge or learn how to borrow money well, like this masterclass series. There's other ways of borrowing money. We've got a how to raise money 15 module series inside Money.School. There's series on how to invest and the best asset classes to invest in. Like I said, hundreds of hours. And it all costs less than what I spend on coffee in 2 days. So it's less than 50p a day. You can cancel anytime. There's no ongoing contract. And you could even consume the series with Chris and then decide if you want to stay a member or not. And you could get all of this content, probably, I guess, 9 hours of content on how to master the game of credit cards and beat the banks at their own game. You could gobble it all up for a few quid. So if you would like to raise hundreds of thousands of pounds at 0% interest for many years, playing a smart game from an IFA, as well as someone who is selling credit cards and loans, join Money.School. Perfect timing for you, because this course is actually live and you can ask Chris questions every single week. So Chris, some parting words about raising six figures on credit cards.
Yeah, go big or go home. And so if you miss a payment, it's going to affect things badly. So the most important thing here is to be super organized.
Right.
If you're the kind of person that's going to get hold of a load of credit cards and just go and blow it on, handbags and holidays and shoes and all that kind of stuff, don't do this. It's not for you. But if you've got an entrepreneurial mindset around it, I'd say treat this entire thing like a business in its own right. Don't just treat this as, get it and forget it. You've got to be organized with this. So you want to have a spreadsheet with a list of all your cards and all the payment dates and amounts and limits and what you can and can't do. I'd also put in your calendar what date the minimum payment is due. When you do the application, make sure you set it to pay the minimum monthly payment just as a catch-all, and just be really organized with it. Log in at least once a week to check my file or to ClearScore or to both, just to see if there's any other available offers, but also just to keep an eye on your credit score to make sure there's nothing's gone amiss. Just be super organized with it and just have a little folder on your mobile phone with all your little credit card apps in there. And then once a week, just go through and just keep on top of it all. So treat it like a little business. Maybe spend an hour or two a month and schedule time in your diary on a weekly basis just to check all the things and make sure everything's kept up to date. If you're organized with this and you do it the right way, you play the game in the right way, then this could grow to something massive. Even if you're starting from somewhere low right now, in the next 5 to 10 years, and that time will fly anyway, you could be in like tens of hundreds of thousands of pounds with the limit, which will give you access to many, many more opportunities. And there's plenty out there.
Maybe a couple of Ferraris.
Exactly that, yeah.
All right, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Really appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed to More Money. Remember to invest for freedom, choice, and profit. And if you don't risk anything, you risk everything.